To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Reverend Sean Whittington's Paranormal Ministry. I'm your host, Reverend Sean, the Rev, and welcome to my haunted house, my very haunted house. We're going to start today. Well, my gosh. I hope everybody had a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. Last week was my St. Patrick's Day special. Had a wonderful guest on, and an even more wonderful guest on today. You're going to love her. But so many people reached out to me this week wanting me to offer up an opening prayer for them for St. Patrick's Day. I'm all, where were you last week? So there was too many of them to mention each one of them today. So I reached out to each and every one of them personally, over the phone, Zoom, Skype, what have you, and prayed with them and prayed for them. So they're all good to go. So once again, like I did last week, today I want to offer up a prayer for each and every one of us, all of you that have tuned in, and God bless you for tuning in. It means the world to me. An opening prayer for us, and I do want to give a shout out, though, to a particular family, local family here, the Arguello family. I've been working with them for a little while. You name it, they've been suffering it since day one of going into a lockdown here, which was just a little over a year ago here in Vegas. Parents lost their business, lost their jobs. Children have been home for over a year, not being able to go back to school. They weren't able to continue going to church, started eating away at their faith, started eating away at a lot of other things, marital issues. You introduce a little alcoholism into that. You introduce a little bit of drug abuse into that. You introduce a little depression into the mix. You have people, with suicidal thoughts and stuff. To me, that's all demonic. And that's what it's designed to do, is to break apart the family. So I asked them, and I think this might be a first for me, I asked them to ask for the Holy Spirit and the Virgin Mary to enter their lives and guide them and intervene on their behalf and see where that went. And they did something else that I asked them to do, which was the whole family go down and everyone get baptized. I recommended a beautiful non-denominational Christian church here in town that does full submersion in the holy waters, and they made it a family event. I don't know if they had as much fun as if they went to Disneyland, but they all went, which, oh my gosh, it made me feel so good that they did that. And they did have a lot of fun, and it really turned things around. And so I want to offer up a prayer for each and every one of us and the Arguello family. And I'm going to light a candle for them too. And this is a beautiful prayer for the Virgin Mary and the Holy Spirit, and it's for every one of us. If you want to receive some of the love and light from this prayer, just reach out, touch your computer screen, close your eyes, bow your head. And while you're doing that, if you want to inject some of your love and light into the vibe of this prayer, that's a good time for you to do that also for us. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Most glorious Virgin, you were chosen by the eternal council to be the mother of the eternal Word made flesh. You are the treasurer of divine graces and the advocate of sinners. I, who am most unworthy servant, have recourse to you. Graciously be my guide and counselor in this valley of tears. Obtain for me, through the precious blood of your divine Son, the forgiveness of my sins, the salvation of my soul, and the means necessary to obtain it. In like manner, obtain for Holy Church victory over her enemies and the spread of Jesus' kingdom over the whole world. Amen. As you all know, families get a big candle. So this is for the Arguello family. May the Holy Spirit intervene and the Virgin Mary intervene in your lives and stay with you and each member of your family from now for eternity. Arguello family, I know you're watching. that candle will enjoy the show here with me on my desk. And then afterwards, I will send it to the room where it will burn with all the other candles until it burns out. But I am so proud of each and every one of you, and I love you all. Good job. Okay. Anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, you can find out at our website, www.ghost-b-gone.biz. If you go there to visit, there's a lot of cool things to see. Remember that my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping with people with their paranormal issues. So, I know times are tough, but if you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it, send in a small donation. I promise you, it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and we will put it to good use, I assure you. In addition to being a certified uh, or ordained exorcist, I should say, I'm also a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach. If you're having any spiritual issues that aren't attached to the paranormal and you'd like to make an appointment to speak with me, you can do that there at the website. You want to go over to the page called the WSC course/book. In there, you'll find the ghost store. You'll find cool things to purchase, like this throwback classic ghostbegone.biz mug, t-shirts, all kinds of stuff, if you go for that sort of thing. But scroll down, you'll run into my new haunted autobiography, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry, a true story inspired by spirit and divine intervention. And I quote, the scariest book I ever published. That was Annette Munich, owner of Stellium Books, my publisher. But don't let that scare you off of purchasing a copy. I know you love it. Nobody's banged on my door and thrown their copy back at me. But the most beautiful thing about it is that part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my book goes to support stjude.org in St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital, Nevada. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing. If you've already purchased the book, you're a part of that support group. So God bless you. A little further down, you'll see the Worldwide Society of Exorcists, which I am a founding member. I offer a 12-week online college level course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. If you're a spiritual warrior, a warrior for Christ, and you feel a calling and a hunger to want to have more knowledge on how to draw your line in the sand and put up a good fight against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling, that's the course for you. All my graduates get a stunning diploma and certificate of completion suited for framing, along with some other wonderfully blessed special items that you can only get from me. If you're interested, you can enroll there at the website, or you can go to the Worldwide Society of Exorcists Facebook page and read a little bit more about the course. But please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. All right, now to why you have all come, my guest. I'm proud to call her a friend. I love her. I respect her. She's a one of a kind. And we don't do this enough. So this is going to be a very special hour that's going to go by way too fast for me. World-renowned master psychic, intuitive, well-being coach. Oh, and her resume goes on and on and on. The rock psychic herself, founder of NAPPN, and we'll go over what NAPPN is. The one and only TV, film, and radio personality, CHICKIE HAUTE. CHICKIE, are you with us?
Hello there.
Where's the cat?
Ask the cat. I think the cat's sleeping right now. They've been on chillax mode, you know.
You, in addition to you being wonderfully gifted, uh, your cat is very gifted too. And so, last couple of times we got together, your cat made an appearance. So send out the vibe that your cat is more than welcome to make an appearance during the show, and I'm all good with it. And I'll tell you a cat story a little bit later in the show. But you look very pretty today,
Thank
and
you.
let me ask you the most important thing. Oh my gosh, how are you holding up during this pandemic and the lockdowns and all of this ugliness that ruined 2020 and is going to work on doing the same in 2021?
Well, I've got a broad resume. Before retired, because now I'm retired. This is my second career, if you will. So prior to my being a psychic and a spiritual mentor and a life coach and all of that, I used to work in the medical technical sciences sector. And I used to hobnob with like some of the top researchers and medical doctors and, scientists in the world. So when this first came about and they said, all right, well, this is killing people. And there was a lot of television coverage, coming in from all over the world, literally, and like mass graves and refrigerator trucks and all that. And I'm like, so I had to be able to kind of stop a minute and take a step back and go, wait a second here, something. What are we witnessing here? So in the very beginning, I was following the laws, I was definitely, okay, all right, what are we dealing with here? But as I started being able to kind of delve into more of the science of what's going on, I started to realize that whatever this is not going to kill healthy people. That's the bottom line to it. So that's the takeaway. And throughout this entire pandemic, despite the fact that we were in lockdown in New York State for a very long time, however, as soon as I possibly could, I was out. I got out of my house. I've been out of my house. I've been hanging out with my friends. I've been going about life as most normally as humanly possible. But I'm a science person. I'm a debunker. I like to be able to say just the facts, baby. So, I see a lot of like what politicians are saying. And, again, the CDC is a part of that political stuff. So I'm not going to get too deep into that. But there's a lot of things that have not been explained to the public. And I'm not definitely in a position as a doctor, medical researcher, or anything like that to be able to tout that. I have my own personal views and also my own personal education. For each his own, whatever you want to believe, right? But me personally, I'm out there.
Well, just so everybody knows, you have a background as, and it's common knowledge, you've made some phenomenal predictions that have come true. And last time we spoke was a couple of months before the pandemic. And you clearly, it was kind of spooky. And when it happened, I'm like, darn that chickie. You predicted something ugly was around the bend, to fasten my seatbelts and hang on. It's going to be ugly, and it's going to be a bad ride for a little bit. And then when a couple of months came by and all of a sudden the pandemic hit, you were the first person I thought of. I'm like, geez. And so I too work with Sharon is a office manager for, oh my gosh, almost 20 years at this animal hospital we're at, and I'm a veterinary technician there, and I've been there on and off for as long as she has. All the doctors got their vaccines, including some of our coworkers. Everybody seems to be doing great. With Sharon having gone through what she's gone through in the past and her age, and she never stopped working. She's there 6 days a week, 10-hour shifts every day. And around the public, I panicked. She panicked. She couldn't wait to get her vaccine. So she got it. She's doing great. I'm on the fence, but I have fallen over on the side of wanting to get it, but I'm hanging on still. There's parts of me that are very nervous about it, but I have other things to worry about, family members myself that I don't want to get sick and expose anything to. I don't want to get sick. I don't know. I've had my fair share of underlying health issues, and with everything I've been through, I don't want this thing, whatever it is, to take me out. So I think I already know the answer to this question, but you have a lot of fans and followers that have tuned in today. They've sent me in some questions and reached out to me. What's your take on the vaccine?
Within 4 generations, we will see a significant drop in our population.
From taking the vaccine?
I wouldn't necessarily say from the vaccine. I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's mRNA technology addresses genes. And I want to be very careful
You know what?
because
I
I
was
want to
just
be
about to tell
respectful.
you that I love you, and I know sometimes I ask you things that, you know me, I jump in the deep
Mhm.
end.
Okay.
Feet,
I don't
you
want to
know,
see your I don't want to see your show get banned from Facebook.
or close,
And
or
we
the signal go out, which has happened before on other shows that I've had you
exactly.
on.
I want to be very respectful and very cautious and very careful about what I say because I am seeing that we are living in a time when you're not allowed to ask questions. And when you do find significant information and you start asking questions about the who, what, where, when, how, or why, you're immediately either bullied to shut up, either that, or you are told by numerous individuals that are paid internet actors, you must shut up. You're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about. You're a fool. You're an idiot, whatever it may be. And this is one of the things, that I'm sitting here and I'm sitting on my haunches, and I'm saying to myself, I'm going to keep my mouth shut, but I got my personal truth. And you heard it right here live. 4 generations, my friends. Mark my words. I'm very firm about this. And last time I said, mark my words, we were talking about an earthquake that was going to strike the East Coast of the United States of America. And I made it very clear to the United States Air Force, also to the Army, and also several other government organizations to be prepared. Get your earthquake preparedness plan ready for the East Coast. And on August 23rd, on the exact date that I predicted it, that earthquake occurred. And that meant being able to make sure that a lot of people were prepared. And it was a safety issue. We got another safety issue coming up. And it deals with your human genetics. I'm not trying to fearmonger, but I want you to be able to understand that there's going to be long-standing results because this is, some people say like mRNA technology, it's been around for a very long time. Yes, it has, but we don't know the long-standing results of how it's going to affect our genetics in hundreds of years from now. How is it going to change us as a species when we
Yeah,
use this technology on human beings?
absolutely.
We don't have an immediate threat right now, but in 200 years from now, 4 generations out, yeah.
You just gave me the goosebumps big time. Scary stuff. Yeah, I don't want the show to be a downer and have
No.
people freaking out and stuff. Yeah, you and I could definitely, and yeah, you and I have been there, done that. I've had you on my other show and have been in the right in the middle of talking about something and lose the signal. Uh, in fact, I think this very show when I had it on Sundays way back in the day, that happened to us. So it's all good. Yeah, scary, scary times. I think I'm probably going to end up getting the vaccine, and we'll see. Um, but let me move on to some other stuff. Brainwashing. It's funny how I've heard that word a lot recently. Here I am dragging you back down the
It's
rabbit
okay. Don't worry
hole.
about it. It's all right. It's fine. Sorry.
But when I started stalking you the past few days, preparing for the show, you had a post pertaining to something about that, and that word was thrown out a few times. And I think you can almost apply that term to many different things that are happening right now. And I just want to know, how do we fight this? How do we? I try not to even watch the news anymore. I try to surround myself with things that will, the moment I'm into a funk, I bounce. I can do that or think about that or touch that, and just snap out of the funk and move away from whatever drug me into the funk or laid the funk on me. But um, I still probably watch way too much of the news, and I see the change in people close to me, and it's just what can we do? What would you just recommend? Just some minor things for um, regular old folk like you and I and my producer and people watching the show and your followers that we can just some philosophy here. And I got a part two to this question. Some of Chickie's philosophy to get out of the funk.
Okay.
And for me that could also mean James Brown. I throw out a good James Brown CD. But talk to me.
All right. Right now, there's a lot of fear mongering going on. And we know that we are all one and we are stronger together. It's important that we not let go of our values despite fear, because love and fear cannot coexist. It's important that you do not allow your relationships, your friendships, any of the ships, okay? Your friends, your family, your coworkers, your peers. It's important that you not let those relationships disintegrate. At this time, maybe a year ago, they were saying that you can't spend time with people. That's not true. You can. You can visit people. And there's been so much fear mongering. You can wear a mask. You can stay 6 feet apart. You can visit with somebody, right? You can still abide to the general laws or the general rules, whatever is going on in your area or your community. But the thing is that fear is dragging us all apart. And when we are apart, we are more vulnerable as individuals. I want everybody within the sound of my voice to please understand, respect, and honor that you have human needs. And part of those human needs are not only to give respect and to receive respect, okay? And the science doesn't say that you can't get together with grandma. It doesn't say that. What it says is, yes, you can wear a mask and grandma can wear a mask, right? And I'm not telling anybody to break any laws. I'm certainly not. Can you sit across the living room from one another 6 feet apart? Of course you can. Just as the same as grandma's going to go to Walmart or grandma's going to be able to go to the grocery store and she's going to be within 6 feet apart of other people. If we can all go shopping and we can all go out and do things, and it's important that we not stop our lives. It's very important for our well-being because there are a lot of people that are staying at home at this time, isolating themselves for no good reason. And there may be some places in the United Kingdom where they're under strict lockdown, but there's a reason for that. There's a political reason for that. And there has been a lot of political push for all of this. And a lot of people are caught up with political ideas. And I want to warn you not to get attached to those things because that is a distraction. What is mostly important is that you get out of your house. You go out walking, you get exercise. You are not going to die of COVID-19 if you go out and get exercise or you go visit with your friend, but you will die from lack of exercise. And you will die if you do not take care of your body and your mind by staying active. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it.
Absolutely. And I am so guilty of that. Sharon and I, when we first went into the lockdown here, I mean, I was looking at a list longer than my arm of paranormal cases that, I was juggling and trying to help people through. And I went into the lockdown. Well, first of all, I had to go into the lockdown. That was the law here. And we're still not totally opened up. But Sharon and I, we had a sit down over dinner one night and we said, I think we're going to have to make the heartbreaking decision to not physically go out and see clients and work paranormal cases in the flesh. I will have to. The flip side of that coin is it helped me become a better counselor because now I've had to do much more of that over the phone, Zoom, Skype, like this. But I haven't gone out to physically, and and it was heartbreaking. But I was not only afraid for myself, but I was afraid, if I had something, giving it to my client, or my client having something and giving it to me. And so I'm as guilty as anybody of isolating. And we had big plans to go out this past St. Patrick's Day. It's only opened up maybe 50% here. You still got to wear a mask every time you go out the front door. They canceled the parade still 2 years in a row. My favorite Irish pub, they did it virtual. My best friend, who is a performer, did a virtual 3 hour set from there. They let in, maybe 20% of the crowd that they would normally let in. So we didn't go. But now here, the flip side of this coin. I have a friend of mine, 10 years younger than me. I'm 61. He's 50. Entertainer, great singer. He had three good gigs, paying gigs here in town when we went into the lockdown. Lost all three of them. The entertainment business got hit hard here in Vegas, but he's in great shape. No underlying health issues. So now he didn't go anywhere because he didn't have a gig anymore. Did some virtual gigs from his living room. Now he's like on day 31, 32 in the hospital fighting for his life with COVID. Um, and it's all the things that happened to him after getting the COVID. It put him into congestive heart failure. It attacked his lungs and gave him a form of pneumonia they'd never seen before, and it's not reacting to any antibiotics. Um, his lungs or heart stopped working in a way where it takes in air but won't get rid of it. So they had to put in a tube to allow the air to get out of his lung or around his heart or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what's going on there. But, they've got him on, he's not intubated, but they've got him on, pressurized oxygen and can't keep without the oxygen, they can't keep him, lower than like 80%, I believe, and they want to get him higher than that, but it plummets when they take him off that.
Mm-hmm.
His wife wasn't able to go see him for a while because he kept testing positive. Recently, she went to go see him because some tests came back negative, and they moved him out of the COVID war. But he's got a long road to hoe. And when she showed me a picture of him that she took at the hospital, he looks ancient. He looks. Oh my gosh! I hope she's not watching, and she's gonna feel so terrible, or him. But looked ancient. His hair went all white, his beard went all white, just skin and bones. And so, what's that about? I mean, you talked about, the healthy people. He's one of the healthiest people I knew. So those are some of the things that happen that sober you up real quick.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of times people will present as being very healthy, but they could have an underlying heart or other issue, a vulnerability or a weakness. I'll tell you a quick story. Back last Thanksgiving or in or around that time, my next door neighbor was in his mid 50s. Like, everybody thought the guy was healthy as a horse. He was always out and about. He was working. He was hanging out. He was partying. He was doing all kinds of stuff, right? The guy about town, right? Next thing you know, people are like, well, he hasn't moved his truck in a few days. What the heck's going on here? Where the heck is he? Right? Somebody goes and runs a welfare check. They called the cops. Then, of course, the neighbors are talking, and they said to me, hey, we think the guy is dead. He hasn't been out of his house in a few days, and this is all during COVID. And I'm just like, I don't know. So of course I know everybody. So I get a hold of the guy's sister, and I says, listen, can you and your family please get over to the house and make your way into the home, because he hasn't moved, and some of the neighbors may be concerned that he may have unfortunately perished. And I didn't want to have to be the bearer of bad news, but I said, you guys need to come over here and you need to break into the house. And he's not answering the door. And sure enough, they broke into the house. They found their way in, and a man healthy as a horse. He didn't have COVID. He died of heart failure. He was dead in his home. So may God bless that family and, of course, his soul. So, a lot of times we think that we know somebody or a situation or what have you, but you never know what underlying health issues, even with our pets, our animals, you have a pet that's, with you for maybe 4 or 5 years or whatever. And next thing you know, you come home and Fluffy's dead. We didn't know the cat had a heart murmur. We didn't know that the pet had some type of other issue underlying, because if you don't test for it, you don't know it exists. We don't know. So I think that there's a lot of information. And again, like I said, I worked many, many years in the medical sector, and I've watched some people be able to disintegrate. I even worked in skilled nursing for a very long time, working in a rehabilitation center. And the people would die of alternate causes, that they were even in for. So, what is a man with advanced diabetes and a lot of decubiti ulcers and such, one day he just passes away as a stroke. They weren't expecting that. Was he at high risk? He was a little overweight, but life has its turns. And this wasn't during COVID. This was, back before. This is like 1990s for that matter. I'm dating myself, but it's what it is. And life is fragile. It definitely is. And there are things that, unfortunately, people cannot be healthy all the time. I want to emphasize that. And there's so much to be afraid of. There are diseases that are way worse than COVID. HIV being one of them, Zika, Ebola, the SARS-1. What happened to SARS-1? There's a lot of, and I'm not discounting by all means, but I'm saying that there are a lot of things, but we all cannot be healthy all the time. Yeah. And will SARS-2 go away? No, it's just going to be another variant of coronavirus. And coronavirus has many different coronaviruses. As a matter of fact, the CDC once upon a time had a page that defined all the different types of coronaviruses that exist. They took that page away, but that's a whole other story.
Before I'm about to move us right into NAPPN, I've always loved NAPPN and what it stood for and what it accomplishes, and then go right into some paranormal stuff, because some paranormal stuff that has happened recently, and for whatever odd reason, I've thought about you. Can you tell me if you think China did it on purpose? Are we at war? We're at war. I think we're at war, but who are we at war with?
Okay. So there's more to this. Now, if anybody knows the name, I got to be careful about dropping names here, but maybe not. I don't know. Everybody knows about it. It was in the news. Charles Lieberman, Lieberman. Okay. He was double dipping. He's, somebody who worked for Harvard, and he also was double dipping not only into United States funding, but also into the 7 Talents program in China. And he definitely had his hand involved in a lot of, viral technology. And he was also, deeply involved in the pharmaceutical industry. There are numerous individuals that got busted right before all of this went down with regards to the trading of secrets. Is it any surprise that former President Obama had been funding this whole bat research and being able to find information? Is it any surprise that on August the 9th, the CDC updated their coronavirus page that I just spoke of? And this is all available on the Wayback Machine, the archive.org. You can be able to look at all of this. Why did the CDC go and update their coronavirus page on, it was okay, it was fine, it's regular everyday average information on August the 9th of 2019. Yet on August the 10th of 2019, they updated it and said that some coronaviruses can be caught from animals. What's up with that? So, is it really all about China? There was funding coming from the United States during the Obama administration to be able to learn more about bat viruses, and designer viruses, if you will, these mutations, and how we can be able to splice things together. This has been technology that's been written up in Nature magazine, where I once upon a time worked, and I have to be able to tell you that it's truly phenomenal. As a matter of fact, the Epoch Times had actually done a phenomenal documentary, and they cited all of their sources, including, like I mentioned, Nature magazine, and I think also the Lancet was mentioned. And it's funny because all of these great papers were documented and, peer reviewed, if you will. And it's hard to be able to get published in the Lancet or in Nature. However, I found it interesting, like after all the political pushback, they had to retract papers. Shh, don't talk about that. And then they went ahead and they said that the Epoch Times documentary was based on bunk. So, do we really have to be able to blame China? I think that definitely the United States is a powerful co-contributor. I think that there is a lot of science to be able to back all of that. And there's a paper trail. There's also a money trail to that as well. Yep. So, if you think about it, we're working on designer viruses. And the big question is why? And I'm going to leave that right there. Again, I want to be very tactful. I want to be very careful. I don't want to see, I want to be careful not to go too much into conspiracy, because anything that comes out of your mouth nowadays, when you even say the word, designer virus or where did it come from? Immediately you're labeled as a conspiracy theorist. You're told, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Let's fact check you.
I think they stopped fact checking me a long time ago because they just know I'm a whack job. So I love you. You're giving me the goosebumps here. Let's go into some paranormal stuff now. NAPPN, www.nappn.net, www.chickiehaute.com, www.loveschurch.com, and a variety of Facebook pages attached to you and all the wonderful work you do and the organizations that you put together. This is why I thought about you the other day. DeFeo died. Amityville murderer, the original, not the DeFeo kid died.
Yeah.
And then I thought about you because I remembered many, many years ago, you trekked to the Amityville horror home and spent the night sleeping on their boat dock. And I always thought that story was a great story. Psychic triggers. I have a lot of friends who are gifted psychics like you, but they tap into many different things. And you can explain what you tap into. Some call it, they get messages from spirit. Some tap into source energy, source knowledge. But everybody, even psychics, are in a funk now. And I'm getting a lot of my friends say, things that used to not psychically trigger me now psychically trigger me. And I wondered if, for all your friends out there or that know you that are psychically gifted, how can they avoid being the victim of these deliberate or not psychic triggers that can be a very upsetting thing? But did that trigger something in you when you heard about the DeFeo kid dying and having you been to the house and so much history behind that whole story, both families?
Yeah. Well, the first thing I want to be able to mention about the whole psychic trigger thing is that right now we are all stressed. We are all escalated emotionally, if you will. And anytime you go and you stress somebody, you poke at somebody's third eye, because that's where you process your stress. It's right there. That's why people get headaches. It's like right there, Is
it when that poking the third eye, is that the thing that the Stooges do?
Yeah, I know, right? Oh, so anyway, it's interesting because anytime you become traumatized, you become more sensitive. And the thing is that it's not only about psychic, because we can use the word psychic not only in a metaphysical or a spiritual or an esoteric realm, but we can also say psychic as in psychological. So we have psychological triggers. So I always tend to take a step back and say, what does it mean to you when I'm working with somebody who I know has been triggered? And a lot of times it goes back to something that has unfolded between the ages 2 and 9, whether you remember it or not. Even we can be able to go into some forms of hypnotherapy and such to be able to regress back and be able to re-engage whatever it may be that you've been traumatized or triggered. And then again, being able to deal with those traumas, those triggers, and being able to find new ways to be able to manage and to be able to cope with one's emotional state. With regards to DeFeo, Well, if anybody read my Once Upon a Time blog, I don't know where it is. I buried it, because it's been so many years old. But I really didn't feel there was much of any paranormal stuff going on at the Amityville Horror House. A lot of people may say, oh, no, no, no. But I happen to have personal friends of mine that lived on Ocean Avenue. All the houses, there. Everybody's like, oh, there's something weird going on, blah, blah, blah. It was also high levels of mold spores going on. But that can be able to affect people's mental health. And also that particular area of Long Island, you got a lot of very wealthy families. And it's not very cheap to be able to live right there by the water, $500,000, $1 million houses, you're under a lot of pressure, you're under a lot of stress. There's a lot of taxes, especially out in Nassau County. I'm a native New Yorker. I know the area like the back of my hand, and know people that are still out there to this day. But the point is that, with regards to the DeFeo family and even the families that succeeded them at that particular property, they did a lot of work on that home. And it wasn't only about the home, being mold ridden or having a lot of mold monsters in the wall, so to speak, again, being able to affect one's psyche. You get enough black mold, you're going to go a little wackadoodle in the head. There's no doubt in my mind about that. However, even looking back upon all of that, once somebody starts going a bit wackadoodle, their mental health starts depreciating, you're going to have tension, you're going to have stress in the family dynamic, and it's going to be able to have like a trickle down effect, whether if there's children in the home, they're witnessing, domestic problems, if you will, between the adults or whatever may be the case. But either way, there's always going to be a psychological component. And I always try to look at every paranormal situation from several different angles, not just about metaphysical or esoteric, spiritual, or anything like that. Even though I am a reverend, I still kind of take a step back and I go, what is the psychological component of all of this as well? Because you're always going to have a psychological component. You're always going to have a scientific or a medical component that's going to play a role as far as like cause and effect. So, whether or not people have an explanation, everyday people like you and I, who may or may not have a degree or an understanding in a particular scientific or a medical discipline, it doesn't make a difference. You still have to be able to apply science to it. Unfortunately, a lot of people discount that, and they are fearing what they don't understand and automatically tag it up as something as the unknown. Because it's unknown to you as the perceiver, if you will, or as the witness, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is unknown to somebody who may understand that science or that medical discipline. I hope that made some sense.
Oh, absolutely. It did to
Okay,
me at least.
good.
Um, I bring up this next topic only because I had almost two identical cases, the same, come across my desk here. On both cases, it was the wife or the ex-wife that reached out to me, and you talk about debunking. It's too bad that we live on opposite ends of the country because I know you're trying to get more out into not only your community but the paranormal community and put together paranormal teams and stuff and be more science driven and debunking driven. And I want to talk about that. But it's funny how sometimes I go into that situation wanting because the things are so bad. I'm hoping I can debunk everything and everybody just go, "Whew, thank you." But it's funny how sometimes people will fight back and go, "Oh no, no, that's a ghost because, you know, it's just I know it's a ghost." So even though I'm trying to help them and debunk it, and I'm knowing that it's not. But both these cases, the husband was into not full blown witchcraft practicing, but some dark arts, whether it be having a lot of seances, messing with the Ouija board, reading the wrong type of books, maybe a little spell casting here and there, who knows? But got deeper and deeper into it. You know me. I always say be careful what doors you open, what portals you open. And so in both these cases, the husband who never had no history of mental illness in his family. He doesn't never been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness. One day normal, They both went out for a walk, and according to them, they got jumped in their neighborhood by a group of skinheads. And what I find interesting in both cases was that, well, it could happen anywhere, I know, but these neighborhoods were like gated communities, better part of town. You don't really normally see a group of skinheads walking around neighborhoods like that. The guys get jumped, they get beaten within an inch of their lives. The police are called in. Of course, the gentleman's examined, and yeah, something beat him up, but they weren't able to find any traces of actual physical people in at the crime scene that were there beating him up. I think of, you know, uh, St. Thomas being beaten up in the cave in the desert by all the demons. And then afterwards, it just snowballs, and the individual gets worse and worse and worse, and more recluse, more and more violent, more and more weird, to where he's now sent for evaluation. Then he's diagnosed with something like schizophrenia or whatever they might label him as, in and out of a couple of mental institutions, back out. But things are so violent and scary now that, of course, they have to separate, mainly because the wife is like, I fear for my life, and this isn't my husband any longer. So now there's separation, divorce in the process. I almost got myself in a jackpot twice trying to work the paranormal aspect of the case, even though there was medical diagnosis and there were some legalities almost came down on my head because of it. So now I'm very careful, even if I believe a person can be demonically oppressed or possessed and still have mental disorders. I believe there's many crazy people institutionalized that have spirits and demonic entities attached to them, but they are also ill. Now, when I ask people, have you been clinically diagnosed with a mental illness, and are you under the care of a doctor on any medications? As soon as they hit me with a yes on any of that, my hands are now tied, because it's a legality thing. You almost have to gracefully bow out of the situation. So when I tell you something like that, what do you think?
I've been in those kinds of investigations myself, and I've been called to exorcism as well. I've actually, anytime I walk into a situation, what I will do is I will spiritually consult with the individuals, and I will ask a lot of questions. And one of the things that I will be able to do is I will disclose to whomever has called upon me that if they want a paranormal investigation, that investigators come in many different shapes and sizes, and I get their consent. And I say to them, are you open to a full investigation? And 10 out of 10 times, they're going to say yes. Okay. And they think, oh, it's paranormal, blah, 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 or it's just bunk or whatever, and they'll never figure it out. I just like the attention, this mentality that people have. But the thing is that when I walk into a situation, there's a lot of different type of investigators that I like to personally call in. And if there has been any violence whatsoever, especially of somebody who claims they've been jumped, one of the first things I'll do is ask to see police reports. I really want to see the meat and potatoes. And if somebody has been diagnosed, if you will, with any type, or if they're on any kind of medication whatsoever, one of the first phone calls I make is to Human Services. And if there are children involved, I will call Child Protective Services. Again, investigators, actual social workers, people that hold licensure and accountability to the state, because we as ministry, we as members of the clergy are mandatory reporters for the government. And the government doesn't know if it's going on, because 10 out of 10 times schools won't report it. They're mandatory reporters too, but they don't. They stick their head in the sand because it's political. But the thing is that when you get good-hearted people who are respectful of what family means and what safety for an individual means, it's very important to be able to reach out to local county representatives and also to the police and ask questions. All police reports, CAD reports, CAD, where you can be able to go to the police department, you can request how many times have the police been out to this particular location, and they'll print it out for you. It's all public record. But then you can also be able to look at how many police reports have been made for domestic violence in the past. When you were describing to me that they were describing how this couple had gone out for a walk, in my mind, what she's doing is she's protecting. It's almost like Stockholm, where in a domestic violence situation, we think about battered wife syndrome, in the old school, back in, from like the 60s and the 70s even, and we think about what that looks like. But a lot of that's got swept under the rug nowadays, and a lot of psychological abuse ensues, and it's very much tolerated. And everybody, again, sweeps that under the rug. So what ends up happening is now you have an up ramp of a lot of psychological abuse and a lot of domestic abuse, if you will, violent, sexual, social. It falls into all of those quadrants. And when you've got an individual who is being abused in the household, or a child that's being abused, or you see any form of abuse, you have to say that a human did this first. Even if it's scratches, you still, when a parent is going and beating their child and the child runs away and is crying, the parent's going to grab the kid. And of course, there's going to be scratch marks. That's the first thing that goes through my mind. I don't think in the form of like, maybe the person's got demons, they got problems, right? That's how I see it. So I take a huge step back, and I always call in other forms of investigators. I'm trained. I know how to be able to do home inspections too. So knowing how to be able to do a home inspection, not just a paranormal thing, but understanding, what is EMF, right? Do you know how to be able to test for a bad ground? Do you know how to be able to do a mold test? All of these different things to be able to look at and say, all right, there's water damage on the wall. We definitely have a problem here. You're going to have mold spots, whatever it may be. I'm just using these as very generalized types of examples. Even rat feces, again, that also, the spores that are given off from rat feces, mouse feces, anything like that can also lead to mental illness. Unclean cat litter, again, the spores that come off of that can be able to cause mental illness. So bird crap, for that matter, as well. That's another one. This is all well documented scientific stuff. People don't clean up after their pets. They're hoarders. Their place is a mess. You're going to have mental health issues, and the pets are suffering. You need to call the ASPCA to be able to get those investigators in. And it's not so much about abuse, but we need to question if there's neglect going on as well, because there are fragile individuals that when they're calling out for help because they feel it's something supernatural, there's always an underlying issue. There's always something more than meets the eye going on. And as clergy, we have a higher position, we're higher recognized, and we're also more respected in society when we do put in a serious report. And it's important to be able to bring in those other team members, even if we're working alone, those human services people, to be able to be a part of our team, not to discount them, and to be able to not be able to potentially protect a perpetrator that could be potentially causing psychological, sexual, social, or physical abuse onto another person. It's 9 times out of 10, it's happening. I'll be honest with you. Either that or the person's, thought forming it.
Absolutely. Does just not necessarily on the level of hoarding, but could just clutter and dust be part of that too? Because if so, then I need to start doing some more dusting and picking up after myself here. In just the few moments we have left, I knew the hour was going to go by too fast, and I maybe asked you 2 questions off the sheet. I don't even want to look down there because I don't get hate mail after the shows, but I always inevitably miss a question or two that a guest fan or follower have sent me, and I promised to get to and I didn't get to. But anything that you really want anybody out there to know, I mentioned CHICKIEHAUTE.com, I mentioned loveschurch.com, I mentioned NAPPN.net, explain what NAPPN is, and anything new happening with any of those. I love Catterday. the psychic night with the animals, dinner with the psychics. Come and share your paranormal experiences. Anything you want to share with the masses before we're done, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, the North American Psychic and Paranormal Network, affectionately abbreviated as NAPPN, NAPPN.net. So, at this time, actually, as of this past week, because the weather's getting nicer, I'm able to go out and do some more networking. I'm kind of restructuring the entire website, and I'm trying to be able to include more opportunities for people to be able to network, literally. So, we're bringing in more chats, where we're being able to include more Reddits. We're trying to be able to get everybody a little bit more integrated in being able to care and share and all that great stuff. So I'm taking a lot of what NAPPN is on the internet, and my vision for 2021 is get y'all out of the house. So now on nappn.net, you can go on there and you can be able to join a forum that we have. And we are looking for spiritual seekers. We are looking for ghost hunters. We're looking for novices, people that don't have any experience that want to get involved, and even paranormal investigators that are seasoned, that want to be able to get out there and be able to just mingle, you know? So the thing is that we're getting you out of the house, and we're going to start more urban exploration, if you will. We're going to be able to go on more history walks together. And we are going to be bringing back an audio and video chat platform as we go and we evolve all of these beautiful new changes on NAPPN. And we're going to have all these different types of chats where anybody can be able to come up, even now, be able to share and, you know, all of that. I mean, right now, those audio video chats have been taken offline for the time being while we do some restructuring, but you can still go up onto the website. You can engage in a few number of text chats, if you will. And we're using old school IRC, and it works beautifully on every device. It doesn't make a difference. But the point that I'm trying to be able to say here is that if you want to get involved and you want to learn more about the paranormal, you want to be a spiritual seeker, you want to be able to hobnob with the psychics, you want to be able to hang out, you want to make more friends, you want to be able to be a part of something, now you can. This is what the network is all about. This is what it's been about since 2009. And I want to be able to invite you, all of you, and to be able to get involved and to say, hey, I'm interested. Get in on the forum. We've got a Google group. You can, I guess within 24 hours, it'll be live, but there are links on NAPPN right now that says to be able to get more involved. There's a link, but you can go, I guess, as of tomorrow, I think it is. It's join.nappn, NAPPN.net. And you can be able to sign up onto our Google group and be able to say, hi, I'm interested in doing this, or I'm interested in doing that. And we will get you connected with other people as a network to be able to go out and spend time and be able to go out and explore and be able to make more friends and to connect. And we'll all be on our phones together, being able to be on the audio video chat and saying, look what I found, you know, I found this rune, or I'm psychically vibing this, you know, and then you'll have people who can be able to look these things up and be able to say, wow, look at that. Oh, they're ghost hunting at this mill down the road from me. Oh, that's so cool. You know, so we definitely want you a part of our family.
That is wonderful. You've never once slowed down from the very first day I met you many years ago. I want to say around 6 years ago we met. Maybe a little bit longer, and then and you've always done wonderful things with all the organizations that you put together, and never slowed down. Still doing it. Did you have fun? Will you come back?
Of course. Yes. Thank you so very much.
Because then maybe I'll get to the show notes.
You know, guys, you can hit me up on my website too. You can go to chickiehaute.com and there's a contact form. You got questions, you know, if other folks want to be able to ask me questions, or you're curious about who I am and what I do, go to my website and be able to send me a message. Of course, I'll answer you. I'm not, you know, I'm not a snob. Well, at least
I know you're not. I know you're not.
not on alternate Thursdays or Fridays, you know. Hey. No, I'm kidding.
Well, listen, you know I love you. I respect you. You're a one of a kind. You are one of the good ones in this. I don't know what it is we do under the big paranormal community umbrella, contributing positive things. Stay safe, stay beautiful, stay healthy. I will be in touch, and have a wonderful remainder to your Friday evening. And I'll send you a message later about my cat issues.
Thank you so very much, Sean. It's been a
All right.
pleasure, and I love and appreciate you as well. Stay blessed.
Good night.
Good night.
Brothers and sisters, I hope you had as much fun as I did. Look, I didn't get to any of my show notes. That's how it is with Chickie. I will have her back. I will think about maybe putting together some type of series with her because she's doing some wonderful things with NAPPN and her other organizations. But listen, let me give a quick shout out to my beautiful, passionate, talented producer, Adrian Hart, aka Ghost Granny, uh, one of the founding members of Desert Heart Paranormal, a co owner of the Paranormal United Network, which I want to give a shout out to them and thank them for simulcasting my show on all of their other social media platforms. And honestly, guys, they have a wonderful lineup of shows there. If you like my show, you'll love some of the shows over there. There's a bunch of shows over there that are way better than mine. So go over to the Paranormal United Network Facebook Live page, check out their lineup. I want to thank each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart, and I know I mean this. I love you all. I don't have a show without all of you. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope you all had fun too. My guest next week. Oh, I love this guy, and I haven't talked to him either in a while. He's one of those guys that flies under the radar, but everybody in the field, in his particular field, goes to him to pick his brain because he's that knowledgeable about it. Carl Supp. He is a extraordinarily knowledgeable individual on all things Sasquatch, and he's been gifted some wonderful things by a clan of them outside of Chicago, and we'll talk about that. And so that's going to be Cryptozoology Fan Fest next Friday, and that would be March 26th. Guys, stop the anger, stop the hate, stop the violence. It's not hard to do. You got to work at it. And everything that's worthwhile, you got to work at. Anger is just a punishment that we put on ourselves for somebody else's mistake. I love you all. God bless you all. I'll be seeing you all next week. On that note, good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. God bless you all.